can you please share your name?
My name is Foye A. Smith. I came up in a time where we had to go to the card catalog to find things. We had to research. And even all up and through law school, we had to go to the library to research things. It wasn't like a computer where you could Google things. We had to research it. First of all, you had to know how to read. It was important. You had to know how to count because you had to go in order to find something. And you had to have the ability to stay committed to a task. Because if you had to take a library book out and you had to return it, you had to be considerate of the people who were waiting for that book. You had to be responsible to bring it back and respect the book itself. It was precious. Yes, it was a precious thing. We didn't have TV and cable and things like that. You got a book. The book fair came to your school. You saved up money for that. I was always a very avid reader. It allowed me to dream. And at the time, I didn't understand that my thought process was a big dreamer. Now I understand if people aren't laughing at your dreams, they're not big enough. That's always how I was. And that's what gave me the ability to dream, is the information in the places that the books would provide to me and take me. So I was able to transport myself there, to see myself there. And it has always been a path for me to be successful in wherever I went because I imagined it and it gave me that ability. To be knowledgeable for no reason at all is how you were when you read. And it's not something that was forced upon me. I liked reading. Wherever it was, the library has always been a source of refuge and rescue. I just love the library. The people who work at the library, you know, a mean librarian. The library has been so instrumental for me in so many ways, not just educational. Aftercare for myself growing up, it was a safe place to go after school to hang out with people, for information, for entertainment. When I had my daughter especially, my older, the library always had an after-school program. So babysitting programs, whether it be acting or whatever, a lot of them were held at the libraries, specifically Albany Avenue Library. When I have class, because I have been teaching Intro to Psychology for a long period of time, even the library at Capital Community, when I would send individuals who couldn't afford the books, that they would keep them at the library. You could go in there, you could make copies, and the librarians, whenever there was an issue with anything, if you needed to know who to talk to about something outside of library stuff, they needed it, and the library has just been there. You know, if I needed to know how to get a passport and went to the library, I'd say the library just hooked me up. I have said recently more than I've ever said before. The late 80s, all the way up until about 2002, our community, we were subjected to so much that we are all survivors and we all carry some level of PTSD. We lost so many. We watched so much loss. We very well could not be here in this chair. One bad decision. And a lot of the time, a lot of the violence is committed in Hartford, but it's from individuals who live outside of Hartford.
That too.
We've had such a, I would say, a renovation. A lot of the crimes itself, there was specific areas as too, you know, some of the developments are no longer here. Again, a lot of the crimes were not perpetrated by the people who live there. It becomes a welcoming mat for that. And to circle back, that's part of the reason why you have things like for children, or I have a son. My son will be 23. Your fear is one bad decision. You never kind of worried about the library. Now, you can have these same individuals who were involved in these horrible, horrible realities, but could be someone else. You see them at the library. I don't know of the library to be a crime scene. So even in the middle of chaos and mayhem, there have been shootouts at funeral homes, but I don't recall there being any of that activity in a library. And the security officers at the library too, especially in the hood, our security officers, they were paternal and maternal figures as well. Walk out, get the kids off the bus. I mean, our libraries in our community act as more than libraries. It is a family member's house. It's Big Mama's house. What advice do I have for the library moving forward? I would advise the library to stand tall, to be strong, and to not falter, and not yield to electronics. Respect it, and incorporate it, but don't shy away from being present and being important. Because even though people don't want to read anymore, they want to do audio books, but that's not necessarily true. Because listening is not the same as reading. You measure comprehension. Some people learn that they need glasses by trying to read a book. And the librarian was the one who said, baby, you keep saying, read. That doesn't say read. That says road. It is a foundation that they provide. They tell you when you get into a relationship from a partner, you should look for 3 things: that they profess love to you, they protect you, and they provide. The library is like a significant other. They do all 3 of those things. The library, it has just been so instrumental, and it's not going to go away. And I don't want them to feel as though their importance is lessened, because it is hard sometimes. You lose your way in modern society. So the letter was, "Dear Library, when I think about the memorable moments I have experienced with the library, I feel visible because it is there where my identity began to shine. My library card was the first form of identification that I could handle myself. Black parents don't let you anywhere near your birth certificate, social security card, or any kind of identification that's under that mattress. I needed something that I could keep in my own little wallet. I recall being so impressed that they spelled my first name correctly, because so many people have failed. Foye. People will tell me on my signature that I wrote my name wrong for Faye. They were used to Faye, but Foye was something that was unheard of, and I must be confused. In fact, when someone would challenge me about the spelling of my name, or they were confused, I would proudly whip out my library card and just marvel at the validation it gave me when they would say, "Oh, because it was on a library card, that must mean it's true." Never mind what I was saying, but the library card was authentic and it was validated. That special card allowed me to be seen. And it was proof that I had been smart in order to get one of these cards, and responsible enough to safeguard it. People who witnessed me pulling out this card in their presence, they saw in me the beginnings of an important person. I always believed that I was going to be famous or important, and I learned that from books. The library was the beginning of me receiving all of the degrees. When I went to college, I went to several high schools, but I wanted to go to an HBCU, but I didn't know what that was called at the time, because we don't have any up here. I just knew that I wanted to go to a city, and I wanted to go to the South. The only one was Atlanta. That was a city in the South that I knew of. I had young teenage parents, first generation college goer at that time. My high school guidance counselor offered me a scholarship at UConn. I'm like, I'm not going, I'll never graduate. I have to get out of here. And so went there. And the first place they bring you is to the library. And I was comfortable there. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at 17 years of age. And I remember when we walked into the library, everything is new, but that same feeling of comfort and easiness you get because it's hushed and it's a level of respect and you don't really fear being in the library was very present. And the library, spending all that time there in that undergraduate degree, coming back home for my master's, all the time spent in the library, several libraries all over Hartford and including Central, going back to Atlanta, PhD, that's 5 years plus a dissertation, plenty of library work, and then going to Temple, where I got my law degree. You basically live in a library. Once again, I had a daughter at that time in the PhD program. Librarians helped with her. You want to study? We have a playroom over here where kids can go. We provide childcare so you can study. And Hartford Public Library, all of the branches, if you're home bored and you want to do something to go somewhere, I guarantee you back then you would look in the newspaper and there would be some kind of exhibit or someone talking. I saw Gwendolyn Brooks at the library. It's always been there for me. I love the library. It has loved me back. It has never cheated on me. It hasn't left me. It hasn't taken my money. It hasn't told me lies. It has been consistent. And I will go back to that: profess, provide, and protect. What would I say to a young lady in the Hartford area about going to the library? There is magic there. If you just go there and avail yourself, it will find you. Just walk in the building. You can stand still. You will either see someone you know, someone will see you that knows you, and you will leave out of there knowing at least one thing you did not know before you walked in that door. Even if you don't crack a book, they have posters up, they have flyers up. On the doorway, when you go in, there's information. There's information all over the library. On the restroom door, it's everywhere. If I were talking to a young man in the city of Hartford and I had to give them advice about the Hartford Public Library specifically, I would encourage them to seek harbor there. There is a safety in that place that I'm sure they walk around on edge. It's a hand grip, kind of tightly woundness that they have to have in order to even get out the car. And I'm not saying Hartford is a bad place. I love this city, and there's plenty of good in it, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that there is. And if I were a young male, it's even more heightened. I would say, avail yourself to the library. It is a place where you are allowed to take the armor off. You can be exposed and you can have experiences. I can show you the degrees. I can show you a library card. I can show you so much, but I can't show you how I feel. But it's there. With that library card, when I said gave me my identity, you show someone your identity, you have to stand behind that ID. And so every ID afterwards, they're great. You get your passport, you get your driver's license. I've had accolades and acknowledgments, but I will say, you don't forget your first. That library card, for me, meant I was someone and I had to continue to be important. Everyone else is going to know that I'm important because I was never guilty of not thinking I wasn't important. I was one of those kids, but I knew now they were going to see me. Now they have no choice. Being a child in your name is different. You have an apprehension and an anxiety, like there's a substitute, she's getting ready to slaughter my name. Or you meet new people that I have to tell my name 80 times. But up until that point, I didn't have to go back and forth. I can just, if you've been to the library, you're going to read this card. It reduced the anxiety and replaced a strength in me. Yes, an assertiveness, like I'm not going back nor forth. The pushback was not there anymore. Happy birthday to Hartford Public Library. If I could give the library a hug, I would, and just say thank you.
Thank you for listening to 250 Stories, a production of HPL Studios at Hartford Public Library. This episode was written and produced by Christopher T. Brown, sound by Sam Sigmund, edited by Faith Lucas, and with photography and graphic design support from Hartford Public Library's communications team and the Hartford History Center. For more information on this project, visit www.hplstudios.hplct.org. New episodes release every Tuesday, so subscribe to stay tuned.